Okay, so I am live. Hopefully, my voice is in sync with my lips. Today, we are going to be talking about a question that was given to me on my post on YouTube when I said taking question for tomorrow. So, this one was the highest voted by Surveen G. Can you please talk about planetary placement that denotes to excellent in dance, music, painting, writing, and other creative fields? Okay. So this is what we're going to be talking about. And just want to let you know, I just put up a video of remedy for Ardra Nakshatra on my KRS vlogs. Actually, I also mentioned Anuradha and Mriksara in there as well. So I put up that, and then I also put up a technique of meeting people, how to attract people, especially on dating or social media apps. Attracting people towards you for a relationship. So you can go to KRSchannel.thinkeffect.com. So under KRS blog section, under secret technique is there. So artistic talent. Now, one thing I'll tell you, I'll give you the most important advice for all the students, enthusiasts of astrology. Whatever you have read online, the actual principles of somebody being in media, somebody becoming an actor, singer, throw them all out. Throw them all out. And one of the easiest ways that you can understand, what gives somebody a certain profession is to actually look at their chart. And this is actually the artistic careers and careers in IT is like the two most redundant charts that I see on daily basis of people when they get a reading. Few I'll get from the medical field and like accountants, but mainly it's entertainment, media, IT, and softwares. So I know what enthusiasm it gives there. What is it that is required there, and the principles that I thought would work related to the media industry, they don't work. They will fail you big time. So, first of all, when it comes to, and I'm gonna be kind of like mixing things up here. So when it comes to the singing career, definitely the second and third house becomes very important. Okay. But then people will make a mistake. When they look at second and third house, they may also think of this person as an actor. Now, again, that is also, very subjective, because if somebody who's a singer may make a music video, and in that music video, they may act, right? They will have a lover in the music video and they will have to act and perform. So it's subjective. But if we're talking about theater actors, and this is something I learned from one of my teachers who you see all the time when they come on, nakshatra videos of Pi team. And this is where I learned that 8th and 12th house has to be seen for actors, especially movie actors, including the sign of Libra. Libra, 8th and 12th house. Now think about it. Why? These are malefic planets or signs and houses, right? And especially 8th house and 12th house are not only malefic houses, these are the dark houses. These are the darker houses of astrology. Libra represents the black color. So now if you're an actor in Hollywood, you're an actor in Bollywood, you're an actor in French cinema, you're an actor in Shanghai cinema. Okay, so where is it that your product is being seen? Cinema. And where do you go see, when you go in the theater, what do you experience? You experience darkness. 8th house is known as that hidden house. 8th house. So 8th and 12th house are these dark houses because 12th house is space. Space is black. Libra, also people will say Libra is a light blue color, Libra is a pink color. No, I made those mistakes. And then of course my teacher corrected and said, no, Libra is a black color. Okay, because Libra represents the world. And world can be a very dark place. It's not just all love and kumbayas. It's a dark place. So that becomes a strong understanding and one of the principles that you should always look at. And how do you understand this is that when dasha of these planets, 8th and 12th house, is operating, okay, they become important for an actor, especially the person who's really a professional actor and is looking to get into movies that are going to be released in theater. If you're looking for TV actors, you got to look at the 4th house. You're looking for online actors like me, right? From Meeting Ketu and Rahu movie, and of course, upcoming Saturn movie. You look at the 3rd house. 3rd house is online. 3rd house is now what you see every day. Your TikTok videos. That's the 3rd house. 4th house is television because you're watching it at home. Everybody's mother and sister must be in front of the TV, right? And watching soap operas in India. That's watching at home. So if you're a TV actor, then your 4th house has to signify that, or the 4th from the current dasha lord. So, and that's another mistake that many people will make. Okay, these are the mistakes that I used to also make, just looking at the dasha from the ascendant, dasha from the moon. But what you forget is that dasha are relating to our karmas. This is why the moon nakshatra is so important, because it's the unraveling of the karmas, the spitting of the karmas that are coming about. And that is happening through the dasha, which is the cycle of the moon's nakshatra. That means you must make the dasha lord the ascendant, because look, at one point, let's say, for example, Amitabh Bachchan making movies, right? But if you kept looking at Amitabh Bachchan's chart just from the ascendant or the moon, you'll be like, well, yeah, you should be just making movies only. But if you look at his chart from the dasha itself, Mercury dasha, Ketu dasha, you will see why one suddenly started coming in television. For example, like KBC, right? Yeah, KBC. The Who Wants to Be a Millionaire version of India. These are the things you have to always understand. Then, when it comes to ascendants, ascendant becomes important because what is a life of an actor? Life of an actor belongs to the public. They belong to the public. They're scrutinized by the public. They're praised by the public. They're obsessed by the public. They're hated by the public. So in this case, and at least in my experience, I have seen Cancer ascendant, Leo ascendant, Aquarius ascendant, Capricorn ascendant become very prominent majority of the time for people in media. Why? Because first of all, the 7th house for Cancer and Leo is ruled by Shani. Shani represents the public, right? The common man, the common person. Saturn is also the most exterior planet. Why? Because it rules the 10th and 11th house. It rules the 10th and 11th house. Saturn becomes the most important significator of the film industry or media industry, because it gives you the ability to be out in public. So, because remember, Capricorn is the 10th house, the most visible house, and right next to is the 11th house. Both are signifying recognition. So, and 7th house naturally represents the public, the masses. So when Shani is ruling the 7th house, one has to deal with public at one way or the other at one point in their life. When you're a Aquarius or Capricorn ascendant, who's ruling your 7th house? The two of the biggest illuminaries. Sun and moon, who are always visible and who are never retrograde. Moon simply waxes and wanes, but moon is the closest and the most visible thing for us. And we already know about the sun. So these things I've seen, and then especially like, for example, even just if you look, like Hollywood actresses like Meryl Streep, Julia Roberts, Angelina Jolie, Reese Witherspoon, and I've completely forgot the name of the other one. They all have Cancer ascendants. They all have Cancer ascendants because they have to deal with public life. You look at politicians too. Most politicians will be dealing with public life. But again, we're mainly focusing on media. Then, if, especially for an actor, the 10th house should be in a movable sign, or 10th house should be connected with Moon, Mercury, or Jupiter. Because 10th house cannot be fixed, your workplace cannot be fixed. As an actor, as a musician, okay, you have to travel. If you're not traveling, then unless you are like a news anchor who goes from one place to a studio, because even if a actor goes into a studio, let's say a TV actor, they're for 6-7 seasons, they're going to a studio, but it's not forever. It is changing. And in that time, they're also doing other things. They're doing movies, they're doing commercials, they're traveling to different places. Now, it is quite a little bit changing, and it is going to change in the next 15 to 20 years because of the technology. You may not have to move, which will pretty much be death of cinema, because I hate shooting anything on green screen. I, as a filmmaker, if I ever want to make a movie, I'm like, either, unless I have real locations, I don't even want to waste my time. So yeah, these are the things that will have to be updated. But for right now, it requires travel. Okay. Then Saturn moons conjunction aspect on each other, or them being trine from each other, becomes very important for an artist. Because if you're an artist, that means you're going to be dealing with public and fame. Both Saturn and Moon will represent, Moon also represents the public life. It's one of the significances of the Moon. And I already explained to you about Saturn. So Saturn Moon becomes important, and especially what is one of the things for an actor to bring about emotions. And when Saturn is with Moon, there is this melancholy inside a person. They can easily just bring out their emotion and cry because of the turmoil that they would deal with in their own personal life. Most actors would deal with some personal demons growing up. So you also have to see, and again, this is nothing related to the principle. This is something when you look at charts and you see people and then you revert back to them and they revert back to you, you see most of the time, like their second and fourth house will not be in the best of conditions. Some leave home against the wishes of the family. Okay. Then, especially for dancing, Ashlesha, Hasta, Uttar Bhadrapada, Rohini, and Mriksira Nakshatra become very important for dancers. Now, why? Think about it. Why? Why these nakshatra will be very profound and significant in charts of dancers? Because Ashlesha, okay, Uttar Bhadrapada, Rohini, Mriksara are all serpent-ruled nakshatras. Uttar Bhadrapada is the deep sea serpent. Now, what do you need for dancing? You need the most flexible body. Body that when somebody sees it, they're seeing like a rope, moving. And who has the most flexible body in the entire animal and mammal kingdom? It's the snake. They don't need to deal with like some stiff bones like we do. When they move, when you see them move, snake going, it's like somebody's dancing on the sand. Somebody's dancing in the water. So Ashlesha and these nakshatra become important, including Hasta. Because Hasta is the movements of the hands. So like if you see the ballet dancer, they will have this movements of the hands, right? They're doing that with their hands. You'll see a Bharatnatyam. For them, the hands become important. So Hasta Nakshatra is seen commonly in charts of dancers. For actors, now you must be thinking, actors, oh, that's easy one. Actors, Mula, Ardra, Kritika, and Magha Nakshatra. Besides Rohini, because remember, Rohini and Ashlesha is about this seduction, attraction. They know that I'm supposed to attract you to my performance. I'm supposed to seduce you with my eyes, with my lips, with my body, with my sculpted body. I'm supposed to seduce the audience so they retain their attention. It's the attainment of retention. But in order to be an actor, you need to have these intense nakshatra like Mula, Ardra, Kritika, or Magha. Because Mula is a very destructive nakshatra that can go deep into its roots to bring out something new. Because what happens, you put the seeds in Mula nakshatra. And what happens when you keep the seed in? It's boiling, it's boiling, it's boiling, it's boiling, and suddenly it just starts spurting out. So in acting, you need, burst of anger, burst of, this kind of like cutthroat behavior that needs to be out. One has to go into deep into their own psychological undoing to bring about a certain character. And Ardra, well, first of all, again, Ardra is about that howling, screaming, that one who feels this being ostracized from society, right? Being kicked out, being exiled from society. And it represents things which are unorthodox. Now, being an actor or in a movie career is not a daily career where you can fill out an application, send your resume, and you get hired for a job with a salary. No, 1 minute you're here, the next minute you're here, then you're making this movie, then you're off for like 6 months, no jobs, and then the job comes in. So you're an outcast of society. But at the same time, you have this electric current of Ardra to bring about that anger. Because especially Rudra was created through anger of Brahma, through the eyebrows. So you will see Ardra has to be present, especially if you're going to do intense roles. Like especially if you see, let's say, Julia Roberts and even Meryl Streep, they have Ardra Nakshatra. And some of the movies that they make, like especially if you watch one of the greatest movie that they made together was Osage County, Oklahoma. Watch that movie. That really signifies Ardra and Mula and Magha, family ties and family lineage. But see, Magha again represents an individual who will represent themselves as regal, royal. See, so when you will see that whenever ascendant, moon, Atmakarka is in Magha, they're like, no matter what type, I could be a homeless or, I could be playing a role of a homeless. I could be staying in a car in Hollywood because I'm trying to make it. But once I go somewhere, I'm going to present myself as that I am above everything. I am sitting on a throne already. Let's make a deal. So, and this, and then again, also in Leo sign naturally, and you will see Ardra is connected with a Gemini, right? And it's a dual signed zodiac sign. So one needs dual natures. One needs to suddenly cry, suddenly become happy. And of course, Falguni Nakshatra, I've actually seen most Falgunis in people who are doing Broadway because it represents the stage and a platform. But again, what is also known as a platform? Social media. So like, for example, I get so many like TikTok stars or YouTube stars reading from me. So of course, I observe and I see like, oh, it's Uttara Falguni, because they're connecting with a platform, some kind of a stage. And and especially now, it's very rare you'll see people wanting to go towards like stage performances. Now it's just like, I want to be a social media star. They don't even want to go to Hollywood. Why? Because they're making 7 figures, multi-millions, with some of these ones that I've seen and done, 10 million subscribers, 20 million. So I mean, it's nothing anymore. 20 million is even like, I think it's considered one of the mid tiers or low tiers. I mean, my God, I've seen on TikTok like 100 million subscribers, 150 million subscribers. I mean, yeah. So you can see how dramatically things have changed. Then, and then also, and one of the rare horoscopes that I won't disclose the name of this filmmaker, but they don't like to go anywhere. They like to make movies in their own hometown. So you see how that rare case becomes important. Like they're not going to travel to Hollywood. They want to make movies in their own home state and hometown. And you can see that, oh, it's not moving. The workplace does not want to go far. It wants to stay near and local. Those who are smart, you might know. Then, especially overall, the nakshatras that you will see, besides what I've mentioned, is also for filmmakers, people who go into filmmaking, film editing, graphic designing, like like special effects, Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever, Unreal Engine 5, whatever they are doing. So statistically, I have seen Satabhishak, Chatra, Vishaka, Rohini working there. Because Chitra and Vishaka are very similar. They're about dealing with colors, patterns, designs. And Chitra is very photogenic. Okay. And especially models, Ashlesha, Mula. Yes, Mula I have seen with models. Like Ascendant Nakshatra being Mula. Because remember, Mula is representing the roots of a tree. It's a tree standing, including Purva Bhadrapada with models. Because remember, models need to have really beautiful legs. And there's one single body in front of a commercial. Okay, so that becomes active. Then the question was also about writers. So Moon, Mars, Mercury must have a relationship somehow. Either one of them have to be in each other's sign, one of them should be like aspecting the other. And especially the 9th house and Jupiter cannot be afflicted, because that will create problems in publishing your writing work. So that has to be unafflicted. Also, 4th, 8th, and 12th house becomes important for authors and writers, because the fact they have to dig deep into their imagination. Their entire, especially nonfiction writers, you will see, especially with the authors, Moon and Mercury being in these houses, and especially Moon being in Kem Dhrum Dosh, meaning that there's no planets on either side of the Moon, because it gives them the ability to be in isolation and observe the world. Because all writing is observing the reality and situations and then writing it. So they don't want to mingle with people much. They want to observe people more. So that becomes important. And Saraswati Yoga. becomes important, meaning Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, and unafflicted moon, and especially, it doesn't matter waxing or waning moon, I've seen all, should be in Kendra or Trikon from each other or from the moon chart. That naturally will give a person an inclination towards scholarly writing, philosophy, and including even classical music and dance. Now, also for dance, Revati, classical, not modern. I really more see classical dance with the Revati nakshatra. Okay, so these are the strong pointers, like especially with editors. Kritika will be there, Vishaka will be there, because they're splitting things, they're cutting things. Kritika's job is to cut things and split things. Any like malefic planet in these nakshatras, or including nakshatra like Mula nakshatra also is there with malefics, because what they're uprooting something that has been shot, that has been either snapped or shot, they'll uproot some of it. They'll keep uprooting. Nope, I don't need this. Nope, this doesn't work. So the cutting and that becomes very important in chart of a film editor. And remember, this is mainly with the birth chart, and then you also see the relationship in the Navamsha as well. Okay, because then Navamsha becomes important. So even if, let's say, somebody has, Ashwini Nakshatra, okay, in the birth chart with moon in Ashwini, but in the third Patha, okay, when moon goes into the sign of Gemini, this is where that interest towards media and communication can come about. Because internally, they actually really want to communicate. But with actors especially, the worse the chart that looks on surface, the better actor they will be. So remember, don't look for like best of the yogas and most like exalted and debilitated planets. Here's the one thing about debilitated and exalted planets. Try reading a chart without keeping in mind that something is exalted or debilitated. Do that one time. Don't look at Venus as debilitated. Why? Because when in my actual readings, I've hardly seen exalted Venus giving somebody interest in media, or even like giving success. The more successful people who have gotten like readings from me, and I'm looking at their chart, it's been debilitated Venus. Venus in Uttara Falguni, Venus in Chitra. Because now Venus is completely immersed in it Artha, because Virgo is Artha. And now Venus's energy is about wanting to be either photogenic or wanting to be on a platform. Okay, so Venus is not running away to devotion, which is where it's exalted in the 12th. When it's debilitated, it's dealing with the world. As an actor, as a singer, as a performer, as an artist, you have to deal with the world on daily basis. Whether it's dealing with the studios, dealing with your fans, dealing with advertisement, marketing, you're dealing with the world. Exalted Venus would not give that much success in these places, because one could become very introverted with that. Okay, but one of the important things, okay, like for example, you will see that why this person did this role in this dasha, and moon is in the 5th house in this placement, it's not making sense. And the one thing you should always look at is making the dasha lord the ascendant, looking at the antra and paryantra dasha. That's the first step, looking at antra and paryantra dasha as to why they picked that particular role, and then use the tribhagi dasha concept, where you will take a dasha and divide it into 3 parts. Because in one part of the tribhagi, they will have they could be like doing a comedy sitcom. The other part of tribhagi, they become a drug lord called Breaking Bad, Heisenberg. So once you see the tribhagi, you will see why now in this middle Tribhagi they become this. And in the last Tribhagi, either it can continue or it may completely change the different scenario. So these are the things you help. See, here's the thing. You can have trillions of combinations. You could have, let's say we have 20 planets in the sky. That means we'll have like a trillion combinations for charts. We could have 2 million combinations, 300,000. It's fine. As long as the principle, the statistical principle is used, you can have as many combinations as you want. Because once you use that approach of the principle, then things will, the life just gets easier in astrology. Okay. But if you forget the principle, but if you then try to just work with these planets, then you're going to be in a complete chaotic jungle, and you won't know which way to get out. Okay. So this was our lesson here today for artistic careers, and I'm going to be uploading a video either tomorrow. Tomorrow is what, Sunday? Either Sunday or Monday, I'll upload the video on Secrets of Ascendants on KRS Vlogs. So we will see you there, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.